Tonight, residents left with nothing after a fire destroys a Port Lincoln home. And South Australia's bushfires capabilities heightened with major upgrades to support CFS water bombers.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with Louise Huber begins now.
Good evening. A dramatic rescue operation unfolded in Port Lincoln overnight with 2 beloved pet dogs retrieved from a burning home. Neighbours described the dramatic moments the fierce blaze tore through the property, frantically using garden hoses to try and save what they could.
Helpless neighbours watch on as flames ravage this Port Lincoln home.
I walked out and I thought, oh my God, there was flames everywhere.
The fierce blaze started just after 8 last night on Matalia Avenue. Shocked, distressed onlookers quickly called for help, but it wasn't long until the home was fully engulfed.
Not long after we came out, the roof started collapsing and we could hear explosions in there.
3 occupants were home at the time but managed to escape the raging inferno, carrying 2 distraught dogs to safety. 12 MFS crews backed up by CFS rushed to the scene.
Once they were here, the flames were gone. They were pretty good.
It's understood the home's owner was travelling to Adelaide when the fire broke out. Neighbours used garden hoses to douse the flames and stop the blaze spreading to nearby properties.
Scary, and I felt really devastated for the people that own the house up because they've lost everything.
Daylight showing the full extent of the destruction, revealing the devastating reality that nothing in this home is salvageable.
It's going to be totally devastating. Very devastating for the family. They've been through enough already. They didn't need this.
Authorities have spent the day trying to piece together just what happened here last night. Early investigations suggest a combustion heater sparked the blaze. The damage bill is estimated at $200,000. It's the 3rd fire in Port Lincoln in the past month.
For Port Lincoln is seemingly a little bit higher than normally, but none of the fires are connected, and it's just it's important for homeowners to be vigilant around their properties.
While a family home has been destroyed, there's one positive, that the owner and their beloved pets still have each other. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Despite multiple calls to do so, South Australia still has no plans to reopen its border with New South Wales following the recent closure announcement. For Broken Hill locals, it's a tough pill to swallow, told to keep applying to gain entry.
With the July 20 reopening scrapped, the SA Premier has given no insight on a new date for reopening its borders with New South Wales.
We also considered the border with New South Wales and ACT, and again I can report that there will be no lifting of the border with New South Wales or ACT at the moment.
Despite New South Wales Premier Gladys Berejiklian announcing new restrictions on licensed venues today in the wake of the Crossroads Hotel outbreak, South Australia won't run the risk.
I think the entire nation now is on high alert with what is happening in Victoria. We've worked far too hard in South Australia to go backwards by lifting our border restrictions too early.
With no date on the horizon, the Premier is urging Broken Hill locals needing to enter to apply online, saying there's a high approval rate because of no new cases since March. The Mayor just wanting residents let in without the need to self-isolate.
We understand his concerns. Other people may see this, but if you've got the licence with Broken Hill on it and you've got your paperwork, it shouldn't change.
Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Water bombers tasked to fight South Australian bushfires will this season be using a new refilling station at Jamestown's aerodrome. The local flying group is welcoming a federal government grant to put towards the desperately needed upgrades.
This area may be quiet and calm now, but in bushfire season it will be jam-packed with water bombing aircrafts ready to fight bushfires.
2 aircraft and 2 helicopters respond to the first incident, and if it escalates, then 1 or 2 more bombers will come as well.
The Jamestown Flying Group has been awarded a $21,500 federal government grant to reach its $41,000 goal. This loading area will be transformed so rocks don't keep flicking up at volunteers or ruin their aircrafts.
The stones and dust and that are flying around when an aircraft needs to come and pull in here and turn.
And it can actually be quite dangerous when they turn around, that they can flick stones. People standing behind them can get hurt.
The local group rallying and fundraising to get this project up off the ground.
We do a lot towards improvements with that whole airstrip. The Jamestown Flying Group was responsible to get it made in the first instance.
The area is famous for its farming, but is also at a major risk of bushfires. Volunteers say it will benefit the wider region as the airstrip will be used for neighbouring communities.
1,530 feet above sea level, so even the fire like the Bangor fire, which we had a few years ago, you could find bombers taking off from here to that area.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, extra funding for people looking to buy their first home and $2 billion for retraining and reskilling Australians to help them get back into the workforce. Welcome back. Job seekers and students are among the latest to benefit from the federal government's investment scheme. $2 billion has been put on the table to cut costs of training courses across a range of sectors.
Upskilling or a changing career path could be on the cards for many.
We're very focused on making sure we've got pathways out of school into skills of today and the future, the jobs that are needed for the skills that are needed for the jobs of today and the future.
From September, industry course prices will be slashed in a bid to help the nation's economy bounce back from the impacts of COVID-19.
Having a skilled workforce will get us back to where we were and even stronger than where we were in much more in a quicker period of time.
Job prospects looking hopeful in a range of industries.
Key skill shortages in the regions are the care sector, the childcare sector, and we also know that there's a growing demand for technology skills and IT skills.
Now, a great time for the announcement as employers look to expand their workforce.
Employers were telling me how they are now looking for apprentices and trainees. Near Staff, for example, 16 apprentices they're looking for. They're looking for university graduates on their graduate program.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Potential first homeowners can now receive an extra kickstart with the federal government offering additional grant funding for those looking to build during the pandemic. Adelaide's first home buyers company is making the trip to Whyalla, encouraging locals to sign up for the opportunity.
A step closer to their new lives. For this couple, purchasing their own home is something they never thought would become a reality.
We were thinking about buying a house. We never thought it was actually possible.
Turning to Adelaide first home buyers for help, they were able to sign a building contract for their dream home within 4 days.
Very excited. It's going to be a very good opportunity for myself and for my family.
The company helps locals take advantage of the current government grants available when looking at purchasing a property for the very first time.
We're a conduit between the conveyancer, the builder, the bank, and making sure we represent you and your hard-earned money.
The federal government offering an additional $25,000 for house and land packages in a bid to push job opportunities for home builders during the pandemic. This company encouraging locals to snatch up the offer that expires at the end of the year.
There's been a demand for our service in regional centres and we thought that why not, we might as well share our knowledge with regional centres as well as the City of Adelaide.
Making the trip to Whyalla next Thursday, the team along with guest speakers will hold a seminar session for those who are interested. The demand already high with 30 locals already booked in. More information about the seminar is listed on their Facebook page. Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
One of Port Augusta's biggest infrastructure projects is starting to get underway. Groundworks are just beginning for the Joybaloo Bridge, with major works for the duplication site not too far off.
Prepping up for construction, a site compound on its way, a sign of the start of the Joybaloo Bridge duplication.
People might have seen a bit of activity around Tassie Street, which is there's a service road that goes from Tassie Street into the rail yards there, so we're doing a little bit of work to that road.
In the next few weeks, motorists will see some changes.
We need to realign the traffic slightly going onto and off the bridge. So there'll be some works to the road there to take out the existing islands and then to do some different line marking.
A crane pad will be transported to the site in September, prepping for major construction which will follow. The Department of Infrastructure sourcing local workers to do the job.
We want this not to just be a project where we build a bridge, but we really skill up local small businesses and individuals so that they have something they can take away from this project and really build on in their careers or in their business.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. A new challenge for some pretty impressive working dogs, and story time for Whyalla children keeps going ahead by going online. Hello again. 2 Jamestown farm dogs will be one of 12 in the nation to compete in this year's Cobber Challenge. Kicking off next month, the furry friends Max and Mitch will be wearing GPS trackers to record how fast and how far they travel.
A different kind of collar for young Max, who's rearing to get going. Max is one of 12 competing in the Cobber Challenge up against his neighbouring farming friends.
There's 2 competitors from each state, so myself and a mate, Matt Sharkey, are competing in this year's challenge.
Max is an all-star pup and already competed in 2017, where he ran nearly 500 kilometres for over 100 hours. The sophisticated collar will track exactly how far the strong working animals will run for the 3 weeks.
The challenge's main objective is to show the world how hard the dog works each day.
Sheepdogs are imperative for farming operations, and farmers say their work should be recognised.
Make my job a lot easier. Probably a good dog is worth maybe 2 or 3 other people.
The data from this collar will be uploaded to the Cobber Challenge website to help those interested follow who's leading the race.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good chance. He's pretty athletic, and he'll be doing a fair bit of work on the station at the time.
The competition will kick off mid-August until start of September. Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Whyalla's pop-up museum at the Westland Shopping Centre is now filled with a variety of historic items. The temporary museum, put in place to celebrate Council's 50th birthday, displaying a range of memorabilia from the city across the past 5 decades. Council's excited by the community's involvement, with locals sending in their own mementos to put on show.
We've had people come in and visit and come in and start chatting and talking about their history in Whyalla and how they ended up here and what they've done here, and they've brought in some great stuff.
The pop-up museum will be open to the public tomorrow from 10 till 1. Whyalla's children's storytime sessions at the public library have been taken to the virtual world. The weekly reading classes are now filmed and released online for children and families to enjoy from the comfort of their own home.
The popular Storytime sessions now available with a click of a mouse. These 2 librarians, Chris and Ali, keeping the classes alive online.
Have had no contact with the little guys for so long, and we feel like they've been missing out. We've been unable to provide that service. So now that we can, we want to do it going forward.
With some COVID-19 restrictions still in place, this new platform is an easy way to share the content with local families.
All the feedback they've been given has been brilliant so far. It's finally that we've got something online, a bit more interactive, and they can watch it again and again if they like.
Each video covering a different subject, with a chosen book and a sing-along song relating to the weekly chosen craft activity as well.
All the craft is basic home supplies. It's either recycle, reuse, basic paper, pencils, that type of thing.
As of next week, the library's weekend trade will begin, slowly returning to its regular hours. It's the perfect place to stay warm this winter, reading a good book in a COVID-safe environment.
The restrictions were lifted over having to sign in with your library card and everything. The only thing we ask is that you hand sanitise on the way in, and that you remain socially distanced from other people.
The Storytime videos are available on Council's Facebook page. Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us. Coming up after the break, netball games to resume in Broken Hill as early as next week, and we'll have the weather with Britt. Welcome back. It's full steam ahead for the Broken Hill Netball Association, with games set to resume next week. After 3 months on the sidelines, players will retake the court and recommence the season.
A long stint on the sidelines, but in just a few days, Broken Hill Netball will be back.
It's been a while since we've actually been on the courts, and as a coach and a player, yeah, really excited.
The sport returns on Tuesday night, picking up where the season left off. A replay of the cancelled third round. In total, a 19-round season is penciled in. A number of safety measures are in place to make sure the competition can resume in a safe manner.
There's obviously a gate to go in and out. You're only allowed 10 minutes before a game. There's no really warm-ups. I think they've split it, so then there's a court in between each game that they're playing.
Other precautions include all visitors needing to sign in and get temperature checks, as well as balls being cleaned after matches. Teams must also nominate a COVID safety officer and sign out after their game is played.
I think everyone's pretty excited about getting back and socialising a little bit as much as we can during this time.
Quarters have also been shortened and matches will start an hour earlier. Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Now, with some more sport, let's hear what the experts think about their favourites in footy this weekend.
Round 3 of Whyalla football coming up this weekend. Only 8 matches to go, so some clubs really need to get a wriggle on if they want to play finals. First up at Bennett Oval on Saturday, it's Rapina versus Central Whyalla. The Roos have been a bit of a surprise packet so far this year. They've won both their games quite comfortably. They really do have some very good players back into that club. And even though their opposition is going up a class level in Centrals, I still think Roos will be favourites. On Saturday on the Memorial Oval, the oval behind me, we're going to see West Whyalla play North Whyalla. It's the annual Robin McInerney Shield, traditional rivals. North do play well against West on this oval, but the current form suggests that the Dragons are going to be way too strong. And finally on Sunday, it's the 2 teams yet to win a game this season. Waruna Bay versus South Whyalla. One of them really needs to get a move on if they want to play finals, and I think Waruna Bay are going to have a comfortable win.
Welcome to Port Lincoln Footy Tips and round 3. Now, if you haven't got to footy yet, do yourself a favour and have a look. The standard is really high. To give you some idea, recently there was the top 50 footballers for the last 10 years on the EP. 10 of them are playing in the first game, where Tasmans are hosting Waybacks at Ravendale Oval. The standard will be high, and the real winner is going to be the crowd and football. I have to tip a winner, and Tasmans being back-to-back premiers and probably having a better team this year, it's hard to go past them. In the next game, we've got Lincoln South hosting Marlborough Range at Centenary Oval. I'm going to tip Marlborough Range, but once again, a very exciting game. Rangers by 3 goals.
Hello and welcome to round 3 of SGL football. This round sees the Lions travel to Port Augusta to take on South. The Lions are 2 from 2 and we're looking to make it 3 in a row this weekend. I'm tipping the Lions. Here in Pirrie, it's Port's hosting Central at Memorial Oval. Central were coming off a loss last week against the Lions and Port's had the bye last week. I'm tipping Central.
And for a look at what's happening with your weekend weather, here's Britt.
Thanks, Louise, and good evening. After another chilly morning, it's been a fairly warm and sunny day with maximum temperatures 2 to 5 degrees above average. Woodner recorded the region's high of 22 degrees, with Port Augusta and Whyalla not far behind, both reaching 21. 20 degrees was the high for Kadina and Cleve. It reached 19 at Port Pirie, 18 at Port Lincoln, and we saw a top of 17 degrees at Broken Hill, Clare and Coffin Bay today. Looking to the skies now, and the satellite images show clear skies under high pressure, with patchy cloud building across the west and south of South Australia ahead of an approaching cold front. On the waters tomorrow, northerly winds tending northwesterly at around 10 to 15 knots, with seas at 1 metre and south to southwesterly swells. And there is a strong wind warning in place for the Spencer Gulf. Showers forecast for Port Lincoln tomorrow, most likely in the morning or afternoon, looking at a top of 17 degrees. Partly cloudy at Cleve with a high of 18. Woodner, partly cloudy with a possible afternoon shower and a top of 19 degrees. A partly cloudy day for Whyalla as well, 20 the high there. Port Augusta fine and 21. Kadina partly cloudy with a top of 18. Partly cloudy at Port Pirie tomorrow, also a top of 18. Clare fine and 16. Broken Hill with a top of 17 degrees. Now that's your Saturday. Let's take a look at Sunday now. Showers expected about the west coast, lower Eyre Peninsula and York Peninsula forecast districts. Fine and partly cloudy elsewhere. Port Augusta with a high of 18, Whyalla and Broken Hill 17, Woodness 16, Port Lincoln, Port Pirie and Kadina all 15 degrees. And now a quick look into next week. Showers about the lower Eyre Peninsula on Monday, looking cloudy about the west coast, eastern Eyre Peninsula and the mid-north, but fine elsewhere. Maximum temperatures in the mid-teens. And Tuesday is looking to be fine and partly cloudy with a little more cloud over the lower Eyre Peninsula. Louise, that is the weather forecast for today.
Lovely, thank you for that, Brett. And that wraps up your local news for this week. We thank you, as always, for joining us. We hope you have a lovely and safe weekend. Good night.